We finally found out how much the C55 weighs. Stay tuned. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel Anderson, and welcome to today's video where we finally figure out the weight on the C55. Now, recently I was scrolling on Instagram and saw my buddy Jick Jack's longtime friend in the Benz community that he had just weighed his 208 chassis CLK55. And it turned out it was a pretty good weight. I think it was around 3,200 pounds or something like that. And it got me curious again on what is it that I'm at with the C55. I've been curious for a long time, and it was enough motivation to be like, let me go try to weigh this thing. So I found a weigh station, and we were able to do it. And this is the video about that. So first, let's walk through the mods, all that type of stuff, or where I think I've saved weight on the car. Then we'll go to the weigh station. At the end of the video, we'll recap all of our findings. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, well, it is true. After all the years of having this thing and modifying it and trying to reduce weight where we can, I finally went and had it weighed, which you'll find out later in the video exactly what that is and where I took it, etc. But I figured since we're doing this, I should probably recount all the things that I've done to this thing, because A, it'll make it easier for you guys to understand where the weight was saved, and B, a lot of you guys have been asking me for like an updated mod list video on this thing. So it's not exactly that, but at least we'll be able to cover a few things along the way. So I guess to start, outside wise, up at the front, we've deleted the fog lights. We just replaced it. It was basically this universal mesh grille. The wheels are definitely lighter than factory. The brakes are much lighter than the stock 4 pistons, as well as the rears are also a little bit lighter, I think, than the stock 2 piston, I think, calipers that come factory on this thing. And then aside from that, just the mirrors basically would be the only other weight modification that you would be able to see from the outside of the car. Now, on the inside of the car, we've got our 2 Recaro pole position seats. We have our chassis mounted shifter, and we got a radio delete. There's not really much in here. I still have a full interior. Back seats are still in. Everything's still in here. But the thing you can't see about the interior is I also deleted about 40 pounds of wiring out of this thing, and a bunch of components like the amplifier and the rear deck speakers and other stuff that I just knew I wasn't going to use. And the radio, we got rid of the command unit and just placed this basically a little universal piece of plastic. And I got more weight savings planned for the interior, and specifically the sunroof, which I guess is both exterior interior, but that is going to be next, which should give us about 60-70 pounds on top of everything. Next up, I guess we can go into the engine bay and talk about anything in here. Number one, I'm not running the stock airbox, which none of these things I'm going to point out in here are really much weight savings, if at all. I did do a little modification to the battery tray box, but one key thing you don't see here that we'll check out in the trunk, I removed the battery from the front, relocated it to the rear, and I'm also using a very lightweight Odyssey battery, so we'll check that out shortly. I don't know if anything else that I've done in here specifically would save weight anywhere. Probably not. I probably added weight in reality, because I have about 1.25 inch spacers underneath the intake manifold, our nuke fuel rails, and besides that, I have the AC compressor bypass, but I haven't deleted all that. I would like to delete a compressor, delete the condenser, and all other componentry that goes with that. But to go along with kind of the brakes and exterior stuff, also suspension, I did a custom set of coilovers here, and I cut out the strut towers to be able to run these camber plates from Kangaroo's teams. I would say that the suspension I replaced is probably a little bit lighter than the factory stuff, so that may be saving a bit there too. But moving on, aside from that, we'll go to the trunk and we'll check out our battery setup. So this is the Odyssey battery. This is a PC925, or the other part is a AGM 28LMJ. That's what they used to be called. I think they're just PC925 now, but that, along with some 0-aught gauge wire, or aught gauge wire, is all the way back to the trunk now with our little custom mount that we made. You can check out videos on most of the stuff I'm talking about individually, guys. So if you're curious, just hop around my channel. You probably find some stuff. I got the chassis bracing right there. So all this stuff was in the car when I went to go take it to get weighed. This doesn't weigh much though, maybe 5 pounds or so, a pound. And then we still have, like, you know, the roadside emergency equipment type stuff, the little compressor, the jack, etc. And then I've got just random odds and ends. I did have my laptop in here from work when I went to weigh it, but other than that, I mean, that covers it for the most part. The biggest individual weight savings I think that I've done on the car is probably the seats. I'd say I probably saved 20 to 30 pounds a piece compared to the stock seats on those. And then the radio, the wiring, that was all pretty big, but I think the unsprung weight makes the biggest difference. The wheels being lighter, these are Volk CE28Ls or SLs, I believe. And then the 6-piston brakes are incredibly light for how big they are, and the 2-piece rotor is also pretty light. So yeah, we've tried to save as much as I can where I want to without sacrificing, you know, how nice the car is to drive. I did delete the windshield washer reservoir as well, and I think that's for the most part it. I'm probably forgetting something. Oh, the mirrors, that would probably save maybe 5 pounds each or so, if that, maybe 2-3 pounds each. I don't know how much the mirrors weigh, but something like that. And another part that I forgot, but this is where normally you would see, you know, the quad tips, the dual mufflers, and I deleted basically that whole section, and my exhaust basically now is right cut off by the diff. Probably can't see it from there, but that saved probably a good, not even joking, like maybe close to 40-50 pounds. That rear section is really heavy, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to get rid of it, aside from just trying to create my own kind of sound with this thing, which I love the way the exhaust sounds on this, but it's not really video that we're talking about. But it did save quite a bit of weight in doing that. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we move on, but I think that's for the most part it, guys. All right, and the last thing before I take you guys over to getting this thing weighed in that segment of the video, what I've been able to find out, curb weight as far as the US goes, they said it was rated at 3540, so 3,540 pounds. Euro weight said around 3,600 pounds. And when I had a buddy, shout out to Vic, who gave me the information of when he weighed his C55, stock C55 with a 3/4 tank full of gas, it was around 3,750. So keep that in consideration as we move on to this next part of the video, where we'll check out me going to the weighing station. So I'll catch you guys back here after the weigh-in. All right, you guys, well, we are here. We're at Mitchell and David's Moving, local place to me that can weigh the car. So you guys heard me talk about at the beginning what's kind of done and why we're curious about this. So now let's go find out. All right, guys, well, I was expecting like a dramatic, you know, there's a scale somewhere hidden, but no, it's just a printed out paper, and right there, 3440 on the dot. So I think factory, I want to say from people who have actually found out the gross weight of these things, I want to say they're closer to like 3,800 pounds from the factory. So, you know, 3,400, that's pretty good. I gotta look back now. I'm curious, what does it actually show from the factory? But if in fact we have shaved close to 300-400 pounds or so, that's impressive, and I'm pretty happy with that. But I'd love to be close to like that 3,200 mark. In dream world, I would love to be close to like 3,000, but I don't know, it would take some extremes to get to there with this thing. Sunroof is gonna go, that's a good 60-70 pounds. I've kept the interior in it because it's just not, it doesn't weigh that much, and my son's still riding this thing, etc. But hey, not bad. So hopefully that leaves you guys with a cool answer, and it was worth waiting to this point in the video. But yeah, 3440, November 6th marks it. All right, well, my GoPro mount is not here. This is like the cell phone mount. It's probably gonna fall off, but There it is, guys. I gotta get back home, try to beat traffic. I drove almost an hour over here from my work just to do this at a decent time of day. So yeah, now it's time to get out of here. Hopefully one of you guys has the stock weight on a C55, or maybe somebody that I know has weighed a stock C55 so we can have a true comparison. But I'm happy with that number for now. It's pretty good for what this car is. Around 400 horsepower, and not a car that was designed to be light by any means. It's pretty good. Told you the camera was gonna fall. Catch you guys back at home. Back home, guys. My goodness, what a car. Fuel trim's looking okay. I just basically commuted this thing for over 2 hours today. I couldn't tell you the last time I did that, but that used to be the everyday story for this car. For about a year and a half, this was my only car, and I used to commute it about 100+ miles every day back and forth from work to home. So to do this after all this years with this car feels really cool, and especially because I feel like I got my trust back in it now. You guys know we went through a bunch of woes trying to figure out the fuel trim issue and running too rich and intake manifold spacers and all that, and I had a video recently that felt like I got it dialed, but that was just me circling my neighborhood for like 20 minutes. And yes, it built confidence in me, but at the same time there was no risk to it, because if it broke down in the middle of my neighborhood, worst that happens is I push it home or have it towed home right there, so it's not a big deal. But this, I was out and about, man. We outside. I was out in the streets, over in the city, industrial area, all types of places. And yes, in my mind a few times I was thinking, please don't do anything funny, please don't do anything funny. But thankfully this car and me have true symbiosis, and I feel like I know it enough to have trust always, but I definitely got the confidence back now. So man, what a day. All right, you guys, you've made it. You found out the weight, which was 3,440 pounds. And if I was to guesstimate, I'd say I probably had like 15 pounds worth of stuff in the car. So whatever, we'll just chalk it up to exactly what it was, 3,440 as it was, or you could call it 3,400, whatever. The cool thing about that is, according to the real world weigh-in that my buddy Vic provided, and thank you to Vic for sharing the information, but seems like we've saved or reduced this car by about 300 pounds in all the things we've done, which was kind of my estimation number for a while, but I didn't know where the car would sit exactly. But still, I didn't know for sure. So it's cool to see what we've done has made, you know, a difference in weight. That means with me in the car, I'm about 190, 200, depending on, I don't know, time of year and what type of workouts I'm doing. But let's say 200 pounds. That puts the car at 3,640 with me in it, which, you know, for a car that wasn't designed to be lightweight in any way, is pretty good for, you know, let's say 400 horsepower or so, 3,600 pounds. It's not bad. I would love to get it down another, you know, 100 to 200 pounds. In a dream world, close to 3,000 pounds, but I don't know what it would take to make that happen. The only things I have planned as far as weight saving goes towards the future is I'm definitely going to do the sunroof delete. I've been planning that for so long, and I just haven't got to it from other projects, obviously, but definitely going to do the sunroof delete, and maybe at a certain point I'll start to delete a little more of the interior, or see if it's possible to get some, you know, carbon fiber door cards made or things like that, like we have in the 190E now. That would be amazing to have in this car. So I just still want to keep it, like, you know, nice inside. I don't want to gut it or do anything like that, just because I just got to experience again driving this car for 2 hours yesterday, commuting around, and it was awesome. I haven't done that for so long, guys, like so long. You heard me talk about that right at the end of the clips when I went to weigh it. It's just was a treat to be able to do that, honestly, and made me grateful for how far it's come along and just all the times that I had with it before I ever even started modifying it. It's just such a good car. C55s are such great cars, and I love it. So yeah, definitely could save a little bit more weight in the engine bay as well too. I want to get some type of aluminum radiator set up in this thing when I do remove the AC compressor and the condenser. That'll probably be worth, you know, 30-40 pounds in those components. The sunroof assembly is probably 60 to 70 pounds, so that could potentially be 100 pounds right there that we could save. And the sunroof is a good one because you're taking weight off of the top of the car. The lower you can have the weight is going to help your handling and just overall feel of the car and response. So I'm trying to think anything else, guys, but I think for the most part that should cover it. If you guys have questions or you're still trying to figure out something that I've done to the car or whatever else, feel free, comment down below, check out my other videos, and maybe we'll have to do an updated mod list on this thing at some point. But I feel like I've covered a good chunk of it in last few videos on it and just previous stuff. But since I did a last specific mod video on this, has been years, and definitely been some changes since then. So it'd be good to do that probably for all the cars around here, to be honest. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys are I don't know, intrigued by the fact that it's at what it's at as far as weight goes, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.